In this video, we cover the quadratic formula, which is an equation that can be used to solve any solvable quadratic. We also cover the discriminant, which is another equation that tells us how many solutions an equation has. For those who don't know me, my name is Chris Iannazzoni. I used to work as an engineer for a defence company, and I've since left that to start a career in tutoring. I make these videos so that VCE students can do the best they can in math methods. With that out of the way, let's get into it. When all else fails, the quadratic formula will always find a solution to any quadratic, as long as that quadratic has a solution. The quadratic formula is detailed below. You treat this similar to how you would treat completing the square. You just need to identify A, B, and C, and then sub into the formula and simplify the results. Let's see an example. Suppose we have the following quadratic equation. The quadratic formula requires us to know what A, B, and C are, and we can identify that by comparing our equation to the generic quadratic equation. By observation, we can see that A equals 1, B equals 3, and C equals 2. All we do from there is substitute into the quadratic formula and then just simplify the results. Once you've simplified it enough, it's worth noting that you should split those plus minuses into individual plus and minus components and then just simplifying those individually. Not all quadratics are solvable. Let's see what happens if we try to solve one that can't be solved. So we can still use the quadratic formula, we can still identify A, B, and C, and then substitute into the formula. So far so good. But when we go ahead and try to simplify what we have, we're going to very quickly come across an issue. The inside of our square root has become negative, and as soon as that happens, we can identify that there are no real solutions to this quadratic. It is unable to be solved. We can actually avoid this ahead of time by calculating the discriminant. The discriminant is an equation that tells you the number of solutions a quadratic has. It's defined as the inside of the square root term from the quadratic formula, b squared minus 4ac. There are three possible scenarios that we look out for. The first is when the discriminant is positive or greater than 0, in which case we have two solutions. The second is when the discriminant is equal to 0, in which case you have one solution. And the last scenario is when the discriminant is negative, and in this case you have no solutions. The reason why has to do with the quadratic formula. Let's look at a few scenarios. If the discriminant is positive, then the inside of the square root is going to be positive, in which case the quadratic formula splits into a positive and negative component and thus has two solutions. If the discriminant is equal to 0, then the square root term disappears altogether, in which case all you're left with is negative b over 2a, and thus you only have one solution. And if the discriminant is negative, then the inside of your square root has become negative. We've already seen earlier that means you have no real solutions, hence the quadratic has no solutions. If you found this video helpful, then you should consider joining my free community. I host a Q&A call every week to personally help you through any of your specific questions, and you'll also get access to more resources like this, including written and recorded lecture content, as well as practice exams and SACs with detailed solutions. It's pretty cool, you should check it out. I'll see you there.